that train. Come on. Ride. Come on and ride. People get ready. I said now people get ready to ride this train. You better come on, ride, ride on. People get ready.
From the light, I would cower, too ashamed to be me, so afraid of my power, till one day mama said I got something to offer. Just look in the mirror to see it. Now it's up to you to believe it. You got a purpose. What is your reason? What is your fighting for? I see you searching, burning inside. It's something you can't ignore. Yeah, everyone's hurting, but you gotta fight. Get up and keep moving forward. See, don't back away with your hand up, 'cause somebody needs you to stand up. I try my best every time. I'll wait to find my meaning in everything. I don't waste this season, this time. Don't wait, counting on me, and I'm counting on you. Yeah, now when I show up, I know I'm going up for everybody I see. And I stand for the babies, the fellas, the ladies, and everybody in need. For the lost and forgotten, we even though it ain't easy, we yeah. So now when we show up, we know that we're holding up something that's bigger than you. You got a purpose. What is your reason? What is your fight for? I see you searching, burning inside. It's something you can't ignore. Yeah, everyone's hurting, but you gotta fight. Get up and keep moving forward. Don't back away with your hand up. Somebody needs you to stand up. I try my best every time. I'll wait to find my meaning in everything. I don't waste this season, this time. Don't wait, counting on me, and I'm counting on you. Everybody here has something here to do. Daylight is your fire, it makes you move. It's something so special that gets us through. Counting on me, and I'm counting on you. Take up your space, baby, shake up the place. Break all the rules, someone's counting on you. Don't believe in yourself, 'cause ain't nobody else who can do what you do. Someone's counting on you. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Robin, I had a glitch.
Hello.
We had a glitch, a little glitch. It's okay, though.
Yeah, I see you worked it out real quick.
Yeah, we're going to work it out. We learn as we go, just like we teach our kids. We learn as we go.
Most
And
definitely.
yeah, this is new to both of us, and so uh, we just have to keep rolling with it because the message is more important than the cosmetics, and
Right. Right.
and the efforts is more important than the cosmetics. And if people can get the message and focus on the message and the efforts, uh, then it's worthwhile and it's worth our time. And if we have glitches, then that's so be it. People have fought hard and faced many glitches. This is probably not even don't even rise up to their
Mm-mm.
radar. So we really gave hats off to the men last week for their high numbers of spending time with their kids and being involved in their kids' lives. And we we decided to do this as a series, so we talk about women next, and then kids on our third series, a third part of the series. And I almost had wished that we were able to talk to a few mothers. We were able to talk to some kids and get some kids' perspective, though. But we're mothers as well, and I think that video that we just showed was so it shows so many layers of mothers, from when the young lady was with her baby and then the mom at the park with her son, and just happened to be that one was a little girl and one was a little boy, and it got to show them, you know, what we're like. And I think it's represent a good representation of what we are, and how we are about our kids. I saw uh, in the with the mothers and the signs about how protective we are, touching on uh, some real concerns that we have, and it's not in our head, it's what we see, it's in reality, and what we see our young kids dealing with and going through every day. I thought that video really depicted us in three different layers. So I don't know. I mean, I raised girls, you raised a boy, and the concerns, some of the concerns are the same and some of them are different, but I think there are concerns that we have as Black mothers that's not unlike, that's unlike any other uh, nationality, or like white mothers. And not saying that theirs aren't important, but I'm just saying that our concerns are just far
Totally.
different than what their concerns are. And I think, today we should be touching on some of those. I know that we went through some statistics this week that touch on some of the fears. We looked at education and the efforts of mothers to get their kids through school, and and where we are with seeking higher education or technical education. I know a lot of effort is put into making, getting the kids up, getting them to school, trying to work, and single mothers keeping a roof over their head, food in their mouths, and those kind of things. And then I also looked at the rate that our young people, or our people, period, are going to prison, and what that is compared to our entire population.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, Black people in Texas are only 12% of the whole population. And the whole population is roughly 29 million people here, and we take up about 34 to 36 million uh, of the entire population, because we're only, like I said, we're at 12% of Texas, not the country, but in Texas, Black people are about at 12% of the population, which, like I say, gives us roughly somewhere between uh, 34, uh, I mean, not 34, 3 million to uh, roughly 3 million, a little over 3.5 million uh, people. And so, and then we look at the number that are graduating. How are they doing in school? And I think as mothers, we don't look at it like this, and so that's why I think this program is so good because today we're going to look at what those numbers are and what that looks like. Robin, I know that we read off the reading rate, the kids in reading and math,
Mm-hmm.
and the numbers. What were the numbers?
The numbers for the from the U.S. Department of Education were in 2023, it was 84%, and on the math, and 85 in the reading, that the kids like proficiency, that they have
Right.
proficiency. It was 84% and 85.
So 84%. So that means that, and put this in other, so that means that roughly 25, 20, a little over
Eight,
20% of our kids can read 20% out of 100%. 20% of our kids are reading at grade level. I
right.
mean, that's just meat and potatoes. So these numbers are new. I know we took some because one of the high areas is the Fort Worth ISD. Their report card is really low when it comes to this. And I'm wondering how many of us, or I'm not wondering how many of us, I'm saying that, we need to be in that school board and learn know what the curriculum and what they're teaching because um, there's a reason that 20%, a little over 20% of our kids can read and do basic math. And I know mothers everywhere are going to work, trying to, even if they're married, they're trying to take care of their families, they're getting the kids to school. I'm sure that the kids that maybe have in a lot of cases, if they have the involvement of the mother and the father and they're active and they're working together, those kids may be thriving in bigger numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But holistically, think about it for a moment. Our kids are reading, the number of kids or the percentage of kids we have that can read proficiently is 20% out of 100%. And if I was going to compare that, I would say in the white community, it's up near 70%. What we're there, I would, I will never believe that it's because one is smarter than the other. Then I don't believe that Black kids are not smart, bright, intuitive, creative, and all of these things. So then there's got to be a reason. One of the things that I did pull out was that our community, and for probably various reasons, have a high um, a, a rate of attendance, not attending, missing school, and it could be a plethora of reasons for that. These are just the numbers. Now, what if you dig into the numbers? There's probably layers and reasons for it, but what I know is it cannot continue.
Right.
It
Uh,
cannot continue because if we're at 25% now, in 10 years from now, if we don't make a significant change, what percentage of Black kids are going to be able to read well enough to get a job, get in college, and all these other things? I know we have standardized testing and we don't always like it, but our kids are going to have to build their businesses, entrepreneur, or work for companies. And that is going to be part of that system. I don't see that system being totally eradicated in 10 years.
I think some of those reasonings are also that, like we talked about last week, the father's involvement in the child's life. And we did notice last week that a lot of more fathers are active. So with that being said, the women, there's more women that are not active or don't have full custody of their children. Number one, women, you have to stay involved, you have to get involved, be involved. That also includes having a good relationship with the other spouse. A lot of times, I know when you're not together, things can be rocky. You don't want to talk, and if you're not with that parent, then that can affect the child's life as well. And just being a significant active person in your child's life will help that development. Like you
And we
said,
know
yeah,
there's layers,
and
and we know that
there's
the fathers,
uh-huh,
the fathers was the surprise. The fathers, the numbers really shocked me that they were high as they were. Mothers don't surprise me at all because mothers is in there. They're in there and they're trying to pay bills. They're being almost everything. I mean, they're being everything in some instances and going to the schools and trying to maintain employment and dealing with their own levels of uh, disenfranchisement in the community, in their homes, in their jobs. And so, and not even, and also the emotional toll that it is, that often mothers go through.
mm-hmm,
So, but the thing is, regardless of what happened, long as it wasn't physical abuse and somebody's life is in danger and things like that, if it was betrayal, disappointment in someone, there's lots of reasons why relationships don't work. But if it's not an imminent danger reason, then it behooves both sides of the family to work, both sides of the parenting team to work together. um, and I think the more and more we do that, and if our numbers continue to increase in that area, I think that those numbers of kids will go up. The jury is still out. It's just no way to know. A lot of these numbers are relatively new, and you got to have generations of some kids to grow up who grow up under the active father along with the active mother. And the only other ingredient there is that they work together for the
right,
kid. They work together. They both be aware of what we're saying by work together. The father understands what the kid is doing at school. The mom understands what the kid is doing at school. The father understands what the kids are doing when they're not in school. The mother knows what the kids are doing when they're not in school. And they both work together to make sure that one, that they're safe, but also that they well rounded. They get these morals, these values, these character things that they need to move forward. There is reason. We can shrug off all we want. There's got to be a reason why our kids are only reading at a little over 20% of our kids can read proficiently. There has to be a reason, and sometimes we have to dig deep inside ourselves to try to figure out what some of that is and what we can do to improve that. I also think that the community, our community, we have many uh, professional people in our community. We have many innovative, talented people in our community. And to be honest, some give back to the community and some don't. And that number has to increase where there is that involvement and that mentorship and things like that that's going on and going on in the community, uh, because we need the support of each other. We need each other's support. If our kids can't read, they'll never be able to read the Constitution. They'll never be able to comprehend it, what it says. They'll, they'll hear words, but not. They'll be rote. They'll memorize words, but they won't have real concepts or any connection with important documents that we deal with on a daily basis, from loan documents, business documents. If they're gonna grow up and own a business, they're gonna need to be able to comprehend um, technical language. And it does not mean that our kids cannot read at all. That's, I don't get that from that percentage. It's at a proficient level, which means that they actually not only can read the words, but they can comprehend, and then they can decode those words, and then they can uh, recite what their thoughts is, what their understanding of it, of whatever they take in. Most of the kids, a lot of kids don't do good on math because they can't understand the word questions
Mhm.
because they
And
can't read it.
we were talking about the layers, and you were talking about how many duties that the mother or the parent has to go through the day to get the child, make sure that they're taken care of. And we talked about, sometimes you have so many duties to take care of. By the time you get home, well, the parent doesn't have time in their schedule to make it to the PTA, or they don't have time to sit and read to the child that 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day that they're supposed to read. So that goes liking. But we have to understand that that's something that can't like. We have to put that at the top of the chart to where we give our children that extra time they need to help them, to motivate them to learn, because they're missing out on so much. A lot, we even talked about the fact that a lot of times parents will put their children in extracurricular activities even when they're 4 and 5. They're spending 3 and 4 hours a week at 3 and 4 times a week, 2 and 3 hours a day at football fields. By the time they get home, they're tired. They don't want to look at homework. They don't want to read a book. They're exhausted. You have to scale that down because education is what's important. At 4 and 5, 6 years old, they're not going to the NFL. So why are you exhausting these children out to the point that they don't have time to study? We have to stop, because I made that mistake myself. I put my son in football at 4. So uh and he stayed in it for a long time. And I remember the nights that we didn't do homework because of that. But we can't do that. We can't. We have to make education a priority and give our kids, because sometimes what we say, the only education your kid get is from school. We can't limit it there. We have to extend it to the house.
And so I think, mothers need to be applauded as much as fathers because, I mean, both mothers are really playing a juggling act and being the nurturing piece of us and all of that. But the efforts, the meat and potatoes is there. I mean, the kids can't read, so that means that we need to do something. That's just, but we need to do something different. We cannot rely on the school system and the way the schools are set up. They're banning books. Uh, you know, I saw some today where 3,000 books were banned. The banning books. This is a big concern of moms. Their kids getting an education. I think the majority of moms want their kids to get a good education. The thing is that where we're looking for them to get the education is not where they're getting it, obviously.
Thank
And that doesn't mean that kids are going to go to school. Everybody can homeschool, but there needs to be efforts to increase that. I think that would give a lot of moms some peace of mind and to just see their kids flourish academically. Another concern that moms uh, live with and juggle is safety, keeping our kids safe, particularly our young black boys. Um, I mean, they're going to prison at a 1 in 5. Now, remember what I said in the beginning. It's like 12% of the population here in Texas is black, and then 1 in 5 of them are going to prison. There's, you driving while black. There's
you.
concerns about walking while black, driving while black, all of these things. So, if our kids, if and it's not a dire, it is a serious situation. I can't minimize it. If one in five are going to prison, some for nonviolent offenses, but getting extended sentences. And then the place for us to change that is in the beginning when they're going to school, keeping them active and trying to expose them to things. And that's why Robin and I want to always put something out there that says, hey, this is something that may not cost a lot of money, may even be free, that parents can put their kids in, that they could get, they can be exposed to different careers, different things from music. You know, we talked about the pilot thing in the back, in previous episodes. We talked about the technical school for Black girls to learn coding. And there's just a lot of stuff. There is a whole lot of, uh, there are more than we know. And that's why we're hidden voices, because that's what we do. We try to go out and find hidden voices so people will know who's doing what and where and what is offered. And for uh, uh, for our community, and people of color and underserved communities, poor, low income, what's out there for us,
And
and any single mother that's struggling to raise their kids. But
and
I
even
often
at the,
say, huh?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I often say that the Black community is represented in a positive way in the media and everywhere else. So yes, that would remain our primary focus to show uh, what what is working in the community, and then areas where we need to maybe concentrate our energy and our time. What were you gonna
And
say,
you're
Rob?
talking about free resources. Even start with your local, your library. I actually went to the library today, and they have a STEM development program for the children. And we were talking about this before. The STEM, STEM, stands for the science, technology, engineer, and mathematics. They have some programs there that the kids can go to a few times a week and do different things. They have activities at the library, and they're free. And you might even network of people in there. They can know other events to take your kids to just to broaden the horizons, to expand their minds, because we got to get their minds working and more developed and more involved in school. I know a lot of kids were saying school is boring, you know, but there's something they have to do. If we can do something at home to encourage their involvement or encourage their enthusiasm to wanting to learn, that would be wonderful.
And we need fathers to help mothers, not just be there for your kids, but to help mothers, help them, especially if they're the ones that the kids live in. We need their support, and mother's discipline. We need father's discipline too, to and raising the bar on raising the bar on kids. And I read an article the other day that was saying that even when teachers unintentionally do this, but when they see Black students, often they will lower the bar and say, "Oh, well, they can do that. That's good enough," and they don't even. Some of it's not even intentional. So we need to look at what is the expectation. I think that as a mother, I always wanted my kids to do their best, but I was busy and I fell short in a lot of areas. I really did, and I would go to work every day and not run the streets, but I still fell short because I was so focused. But I had good support teams around me as well to help me. I had a brother that was always a really good, two brothers specifically that was there all the time and were excellent role models for my kids. Um, and sometimes it takes that, and still, they can still achieve even more because they're relatively young adults. Um, so, far be it from me to point my finger at someone, but I like to read, and I like to learn and to watch and know that we can do better than what we've done. And some of us have learned a lot along the way, and we need to learn to pass it down. Back in the day, grandma would pass this story down and that story down, and it would go down to generations. And that was part of who we are, the storytellers, and telling things from the past or telling things that we've experienced that might benefit somebody is really something that we are actually known for. You know, we wouldn't even know about Africa, and that a lot of black people were taken from Africa. You think it would have been put in books? It was a lot of the storytellings and the native people who came over here and talked and shared that with their kids, this is where you came from. So storytelling and sharing our experiences is something that historically we've done uh, successfully, because we really wouldn't understand or have any idea where we came from if it wasn't for our ability to pass down
Yes.
important things
Mhm.
and important facts, and be able to put them in a way that they resonate and go through generations. And I'm all for moving forward in technology in this, but there is a place for where we've been and where we are now. So, trying to keep our kids safe, how do we keep one of the things is to keep them focused. And we can't follow them everywhere, but to keep them focused in positive things, and uh, having them in positive things to utilize in time so they're not roaming around the streets or in these places, coming across these different dangers that's in the street, and actually having them in safe places with good mentors and things like that. And I know for a fact that there are people out there that could help with that, that could come and talk to us about things like that. Talk to mothers, talk to fathers, talk to kids on this platform and other platforms about here. We are doing this, and could you come even locally?
Right.
So, and then the other concern that I think, and these are not all of them, but our kids' education, our kids' safety, and then our relationship with black men.
Mhm.
Um, Earlier this week, we've been, instead of posting our normal event notice, we've been posting one with Jill Scott singing a song, and I think we want to play that right now so that we can just kind of really listen to her words and have a conversation about that afterward.
Say life's been hard on you. Well, brother, I got news. It's hard on me too. We seem to face the same old issues. Some are just surface, some deeper in the tissue. And I know slavery has played its part. Word being separated and subjugated, and that passes to the brain of our child. So I want to step off what was and start with the right now. You say the world just don't understand. But I ain't the world, my love. I'm your woman. And I know how deep it really goes. Trying to tread on a dream when the water feels low. And oh,
If our ancestors can walk barefoot, afraid in the dark, for miles and 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 miles, I know we can do this. Come on, let's start.
Hey, Robin.
Huh.
Hey,
With that, I just want to say, uh, parents, we people see you. A lot of times they don't say anything, but they see you. We know how hard it is, and just thank you for being a good parent.
yeah. That song really emphasizes. She's really calling out to someone to work with her mate, whoever he is. She even says, "I'm your woman." But even if you aren't, you know, one of the things that I'm a big Harriet Tubman fan. I mean, I love Harriet Tubman. I could read any and everything I could find on her, and she made and just got made to come in. If our ancestors could walk miles and miles and miles and miles and miles barefoot, then it shouldn't be anything for us. Sometimes we get a disappointment in it. I was recently very disappointed with the politically, and but then if you think I didn't walk miles and miles and miles and miles and miles barefooted to get to the outcome that I wanted. And it really puts it in perspective, like what we really are capable of enduring. And often we turn around when we haven't even walked. I can only imagine what they endured, um, walking through dark, dangerous. There was nothing there, and every step was a dangerous step. And I can only imagine what that was like. And then, you know, we have that in us to come together and make sure that everybody gets safely on the other side. Um, and we don't have to go through miles of woods and locusts and dangers in the woods to get there. We have dangers here. We do. And we fight them all the time, but we're strong. And that song really touches into our strengths. She says, I understand, but if they could do this, then what couldn't we do that? And even this podcast, me and Robin didn't know what we were going to do, but we just felt so compelled that to not only reach out to the community, but to make sure that our generations hear what our thoughts are, and what length we're willing to go to make a difference. Every week after this podcast, we immediately start looking for other resources. We go to them. If we go in person, it's we gotta do something, and we're strong enough to do something. And I think as a mother, as a woman, our relationship with the men in our lives is we're not, it's important to us, and society has played its toll on us. I was looking. What was that movie, Claudine? Uh, I think it came out in 1976, and she was going to get married. She was getting welfare, and she had to hide all of her things and make sure that the man that she wanted to marry, who had a job, she had to hide him in the house while the welfare worker came to the house to inspect the house and make sure that, one, nobody else was living in the house, and number two, look in her refrigerator and all of these things. All of these things systematically tore us apart.
Hmm. Hmm.
That movie is more true than anything. I mean, there was a time when this was going on, and today the result of some of that
Broken home.
effort has come home.
Right.
And we use catch terms for each other that we've learned is okay. We even get reinforcers to use these negative terms towards one another. I thought the movie was interesting. I've seen it several times, so I didn't actually watch it. I just saw it, and it reminded me of the scene when she was had her kids hiding a little bitty box TV because she didn't want them to know that she had a TV or that she was getting help from anyone, and she didn't want them to know that there was a man in her life. So, what message is that sending about the importance of a mate in your life?
And, I think that, like you said, that mentality of keeping us your significant other away from people knowing, it trickled down, and it was the demand not to have anyone there, and it trickled down to the mentality to a lot of women that they didn't need anybody.
Mm.
And that's the furthest thing from the truth. We need help.
That is
We need help.
that is because we need each other.
Right.
We need each other. We can be competent. I've always believed we can be competent. Uh, we can be as assertive, creative, competent, and everything. All the good qualities. But that doesn't mean that we don't need one another. Nobody is an island, and we can't just fix things by ourselves all the time. And there are people that went down paths that we have, and we need to look to them to figure out, how I can sideswipe a few things to get ahead a little easier, a little quicker. So this systematic idea that we don't need each other has trickled into the way we look at the people, each other, not just women, how we look at men, but how they look at us. And and we've been bamboozled.
Hmm. And you have to remember, even though you feel like you don't need another person, your child needs that other person. He needs both parents.
Right.
He needs anybody. They need anybody that's going to show them genuine love, interest, and support.
A united force,
It
united
takes a
team.
bit. It
And
definitely takes a bit.
so, those are, three issues that I know we deal with. At what level and what's concerning each individual person may be different, but the education of our kids, their safety and their health and safety, their wellness is our concern. And then the relationship that we have with the men in our lives that we've had these kids, whether we're with them or not, is also a part of our life and a part of our concerns and a part of how we deal with it. And I think that by and large, I like to believe that most, we've been able to handle as well as we can with decorum and with class. I'd like to see the word decorum and class used a lot more when we talk about Black people, because decorum and class, we have that. We also have discipline. I think sometimes, we take a subset of how a certain group of people might act, 10 people, and we say, okay, well, that's everybody. Well, it's not everybody. We don't all see the same things. We don't all see things the same way. And that's okay. I don't think any other group of people see things all the time. I don't think white people see everything the same way, or Hispanic people, or Asian people. People are people. But we need more positive words used to describe us that are true. And and decorum is one of them. And I think that if we exhibit that for our kids as well, we'll get a less of those subsets and more people, more kids, more focused kids, and mothers with a little less stress because they got some help, and fathers sticking their chests out because they're doing, you know, they're being treated with the respect, and the women are being treated with the respect that they deserve. And then we need to share, ooh, we got some habits that mainly, stop trashing each other. And that's taught behavior. And if we can't do anything else, if we can get one person to listen, that is taught. You are taught to talk about each other like that. And if we can get people to commit to, okay, if I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna stop talking bad about my kid's mother to my kids. I'm gonna stop referring to her in any derogatory. I'm gonna stop talking negative about my kids dead, regardless of, I wasn't happy when we broke up, or I wasn't happy what he did or whatever. But I'm gonna try to curve the way I refer to him when I'm talking to them, and I'm gonna try to forge a relationship. Uh, that's one of the best things that we can do for our kids, better than buying iPhones and PlayStation 5s, because that last PlayStation 6 is coming and iPhone 17 is coming, but character, morals, and values last forever. So, like we always promise, we're going to talk about a few of our resources uh, and a business. And so I want to do one business, and we got we thought we'd do a black owned woman business this week, celebrating those women. And here we are.
Miss Sherry, owner of Avery Savory Popcorn LLC. We are a Dallas based, woman owned and operated store that offers fresh gourmet popcorn made in small batches on site daily. With over 30 plus flavors, you're bound to find one or five that your taste buds can't live without. In 2010, our family of popcorn connoisseurs began dreaming of owning a gourmet popcorn store. We studied local, regional, and national markets and taste tested popcorn all over the country. 9 years later, Avery Savory Popcorn opened, backed by our commitment to finding the best ingredients and making the highest quality products available. At Avery Savory Popcorn, we pride ourselves on great customer service as evident in all the positive reviews on social media. In 2020, due to COVID-19 pandemic, we had to pivot to an online store. Avery Savory Popcorn is a true family business. The kids, Alicia and Stefan, led the charge, which really sustained us during a very difficult time. Now our customer base has expanded to include a national following from New York to California. The Avery family tradition of community service extends to our company too. We donate our excess popcorn to the Stew Pot, a nonprofit organization that provides 1,000 meals per day to residents who do not have permanent homes. At Avery Savory Popcorn, based on all the research and the many positive reviews, we know for a fact we provide some of the best gourmet popcorn in the state of Texas and more than likely in the nation. That's why we can say with confidence that we are hashtag on and popping.
Okay, Robin, here's your lawyer.
Okay. Okay. This is Lauren the lawyer. I actually came across her on social media. And the thing that drew me to her was that I like this. She tells stories about different cases that she has. She is a family law attorney. She specializes in children custody and also divorces. And the thing that I liked about her is that she always has nuggets of information. I have found out so many things legally that she talks about, and they are really beneficial. She also has a show coming on TV where she and her husband will be delivering subpoenas to people. So that's going to be interesting. But if you're going through anything with the family law, I would suggest that you look at her page. You might be able to find some information that might be able to help you. And she is, like I said, she's on social media, but you also can Google her. She says that her profile says that she's in the best in her field, and yes, here she settles divorce, child support, child custody visitation, and also modifying if you already have placement in order as far as the custody of your child. Look her up. She says she seems like she really knows what she's doing, and it's listed on her profile that she's the best in her business. So I hope you can take that away.
So I wanted to revisit the counseling. We've talked about men and women, and men and women have been go through a lot. And one of the things we don't utilize as much as others is counseling and supports. And so again, this is Aspen Counseling and Wellness. They will do telehealth. They are all Black counselors, therapists, and uh, you know, uh, and accept most insurance, all of that. And this is just some of the people some of the things that go on in our community that some of it is what barriers we face when we're when we even thinking about getting a counselor, like looking for a counselor that looks like us, that has experiences similar to ours. um Only about 25% of Black people even seek mental health. So we really just deal with depression and things like that. Our college students are going to school, but they're not seeing counselors that look like them or that can understand the various things that they may be experiencing. So the good thing about this service is that they also provide it virtually. The other thing we promise always is books. So we did 5 banned books. One is Alice Walker, The Color Purple. It's banned in almost every school I could find. Zora Hurston. This one broke my heart. Um, their eyes were watching God. Remember that movie? It had Halle Berry in that movie. But the book is outstanding. Maya Angelou. I know why the cage bird sings. These books were in our libraries when we were growing up, and now they are not. Toni Morrison. How many of her books had I read as a kid? I swear, beloved, Toni Morrison, beloved. Bell Hooks, Black Look, Race and Representation. And Ajami Alohu. So you want to talk about race? These are 6 books that have been banned, and we really encourage. And what do we always say? I hope somebody is starting to work on that library in their home, and these would be 5 great books that we would start with. So, Robin, you want your 1 minute?
Yes. I always ask the question, how long do we have to continue to fight? We fight about everything. We fight about women's rights, men rights, children's rights, equality in every area. Fathers, spouses, let's stop fighting. Let's come together, fight for our children so that we can equip them with what they need to survive in this world. Love your children more than you dislike yourself. Thank you for watching us and have a good evening.
Hats off to women. You are extraordinary. You're beautiful, extraordinary, talented. I love that we come in a plethora of shades. Our hair is every kind of way known to men. I love the creativity. I love that we're not trying to fit any person's specific mold. You know, we made such strides and such progress. I'm proud to be a Black woman. Uh, we spoke about the men last week, and the thing that would make it oh so much better is not only if they were involved in our kids' day-to-day lives, but that we work together as a team, side by side, with a common goal of improving our community and providing our kids with access to success. Um, I just want to give that clap, that well-deserved clap, to Black women and Black men. Next week we'll be talking about kids. And we are going to end it with, sorry, we're going to end this with a final message about the strength and the endurance of Black women.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun.
If you don't step, I'm gonna have you arrested.
You may do that. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun.
Would you like to pick a new name?
Harrington. I do what I can when I can while I can for my people. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer, gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
Good night. Remember, next Monday, 7 p.m., test results.